What's up, guys? Talon back in the video. Just jumped in to play a little bit more Darktide, and I thought we would test with ray tracing off today just to see what the performance is like. So before I started this recording at 4K with the higher bitrate that I'm using with Shadowplay, I was getting over 200 frames per second here, and this is in the lobby, which is extremely demanding. I'll show you guys the settings really quickly. We're at 4K. DLSS is on quality, frame generation is on. That enables the reflex low latency there, you can't change that. And then ray tracing is turned off, and we're on the highest preset. These even are higher than normal. This is normally on high and high, but I've turned them on to the highest available preset that they can go to. Bloom is turned off, motion blur is turned off, everything else is on. These two right here actually have a pretty significant hit on your performance. So if you turn them off, you obviously get more FPS. But a lot of times when you mess with the settings in game, because it's just, I don't know what it's doing, it seems to really affect the stability of the game. It will crash occasionally if you just change it. So I'm actually curious if it'll crash here. If it does, I'll just make the video over again. Let's go back in. Let's see if we can turn it off. So we were about 193 frames there. Let's see if it makes a difference here in the game. Oh, it didn't crash. It didn't crash. Okay, so they're on high. So now we're back in. Yeah, 197, 198, 97. So actually it's not too effective here as in terms of how much it's hitting the performance. It's changing slightly because there's actually a person on scene there. Let's go back. We'll call it about the same, about 190 on the frames. Kind of changed, but we'll put it back on extreme, and I think frame generation is on, but sometimes you have to turn this stuff on and off. Okay, so it's about 195 frames. So now we'll go back to the frame generation. There's something with this where it's like bugged out. Yeah, it's definitely on. So you can see frame generation dropped it down to about 163, and that's why I said in the previous video you're losing like occasionally it's like 30 to 40 frames per second. It just depends on... Yeah, okay. So frame generation was definitely on. So it should only have to do that the first time you boot the game. I mean, the first time you actually launch the game, not every time. But you can see it's a lot more demanding in this lobby. The lobby is not representative of the actual gameplay. It's super demanding. I think it's just because there's a lot of detail there. The actual game, you typically get, I think on average, like 20, 30 more frames per second. I'm just taking a guess here. It could be completely wrong, but we're at like 190, we'll call it, on average there. Kind of flipped around just a little bit. So we'll jump in, and we'll check it out real quick. I'll just show you guys what the performance is like if you have ray tracing off.
You'll be traveling with bodyguards, sure, but you'll have the advantage of surprise.
Frame generation is a nice feature, especially if you're at high frames per second. So you can see we're about over 200 frames there. Looks like we launched into some game in progress here. So 200 frames, 207. So it kind of goes, it's obviously going to fluctuate around, right? If there's a big horde, you're going to get, and then on top of it, I'm recording this. So if I wasn't recording, I'm losing, like I said, I tested it. It was like 8 frames per second there. So I'm losing like 8 frames a second just recording. So I'd be, in some of these scenes, well north of 200 frames per second at the highest preset you can go on 4K, which is nuts. And you can see GPU utilization, 91%, 87, 95. So it's not even maxing the GPU out. Like right now, we're in a very CPU-limited situation where we're getting, you know, almost 200 frames per second, and the CPU is definitely like, hey, I can't keep up to feed this. Even with 8,000 DDR5 and a 13900K in stock. Now, if I were to overclock the CPU, maybe overclock the cache, mess with that, you might get more. You know, 215 there. It's kind of bouncing around. I'm actually curious how high we can get the FPS to go.
Always.
Over here. And health, even though I don't really need it. Top it off. Looks like I have a med kit already. Go. I think somebody in my previous video was complaining about how loud that is, so we'll turn that down. I mean, it's only like 7% yet. Ah! I just wanted to see how loud the gun was. I didn't know there was a guy right there. So we're basically at the end. This is where it's going to get really busy. Still pretty good frames. Just about 200, 180, 197, 207, 213, 210. You know, obviously it's going to bounce around. Alright, so this is the end. You know, even with the horde and everything that's going on right now, we're still upwards of 200 frames per second of 4K. Yeah, that's incredible. And the GPU is at stock. I could still overclock the GPU, you know, get 3000, 3100, memory overclock, everything. And, you know, I just don't think it's necessary. I don't think with this GPU it's really necessary to even bother with that. It's only pulling 350 watts of power. I'd rather just keep it, you know, 370 watts, kind of fluctuating around. I'd rather just keep it down low. I don't see a point in pushing up the voltage slider, and that's going to blow up. The monitor is only a 160 hertz monitor, so I'm already at the limit of the monitor, right? So I could frame cap and get power down and everything like that. I don't see a point in pushing it. Can't see it anyway. No! Oh, your grenade! Grenade! Okay. Key's like not working. Ground. Wait for it to bubble up. Stopped it. I don't know why it says it's got a grenade, but yet it wouldn't activate. I don't know if he's got some sort of way to. Man, he's been the hell out of me right now, isn't he? It's so ridiculous. Like, you have nothing you can do against that. It just kind of chases you around. Let's just do this. Shit, my guys are down. I gotta get them up. And he's gonna kill me while doing this. Heal up. I really hate this guy. See, now it pulls out the grenade. Oh god, the barrel. Come on. Heal up real quick. This guy is such a pain in the ass. really quickly. I'll just put it on 1080p. I didn't really get a chance to do that there. Oh, of course it ended. And it won't even... Okay, it's pulling me out. I am just curious, kind of the frame difference, but maybe I'll save that for another video, guys. I did want to see what 1080p would look like, or even 1440p, just to see how high can we push the FPS, because I'm assuming you can go much higher. Maybe I'll do another video. I'll catch you guys later.